issue. Globally, 800,000 people complete suicide a year. That's a death every 40 seconds. Wow. In Trinidad and Tobago, we have the third highest rate in the Caribbean. And we are left to wonder, why? What is happening in the fabric of the society, in the core, in the hearts of people that's making this an option? When we understand suicide and we understand what drives a person to come to the point where they think that's an option, we realize that they've just run out of options. And they can't see or think of other options sometimes because of underlying mental illness, or just because they don't have the skills, they don't have the capacity, they just don't know.
Correct.
So that's where we come in.
Yes, and I wholeheartedly, I like that they made sure the distinction between escape.
Yes.
Because sometimes escape for some people equates as death.
Yes.
But all of us, at times want to escape something.
Of course.
Right? I'm fed up of doing so much work.
Yes.
Right? And these things, I think all of us say things like, I wish I wasn't born.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't here right now. I wish I could just go to sleep for about 2 weeks and just wake up.
But that is distinct from a suicidal thought, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
That is not the beginning of.
That's a red flag for suicidal thought. Someone mightn't come out and say, "I want to kill myself," but they will say things like that.
Right, and a good point. And I was going to say, even all of us at one time think that, but maybe it's a fleeting thought. But if it becomes frequent, or even goes beyond that, and you're saying as a red flag, if you're here. You yourself start thinking that maybe every day. I know sometimes we're in a job or situation that we don't like. And then
so what you find is that people that have depression, and I like that you brought it up, that people that have depression actually have this structural damage to their brains, okay? Or structural difference to their brains that prevents them from really being able to manage all of the things that they're feeling.
Absolutely.
And which means that after they go through their round of ruminations, they finally reach a place that they cannot escape. Why? It's because they cannot take themselves out of it. Now, why is this important, and why is this relevant? We have an attitude in Trinidad, quite common. It's actually seen in almost every single sphere in education everywhere, where we tell the person what the result is that we want and think that they should magically get there. That is, well, just be happy. You understand? You tell the person,
shake yourself out of it.
They tell the person the result. But telling someone the result does not solve the problem.
Of course not.
You see it with children as well. You say, well, just pull yourself together or focus.
Snap out of it.
Snap out of it. You tell them the result, but do not give them the tools. And that's actually more frustrating. What you've done is add to their stress. Why? Because if I tell you, okay, you don't have hands, and I say, well, eat the food. And it's on the other, no hands, no legs. And I say, eat the food, and on the side of the room, if they don't give you what is necessary to get the food, it causes you frustration. So the idea is that it comes to two things, really. One is compassion for the people who are not in a position where they don't have these suicidal ideations. And then the other one is for the person who might have them, that you need to go and get an external force to assist you. Now, that's super important, because if you cannot escape your thoughts, you need help. You need help in order to do that. Now, some people use varying methods to pull that off. There's substance abuse is one of those things that kind of erupt out of that, right? Also, you have other situations where people...
The ability to cope, you have to get tools to cope.
Absolutely.
Right? And all of us have a different amount of tools. And usually when people reach the stage of even thinking about suicide, even planning, is when they are low on tools. Right? And as Kirsten said, seek support.
Yes.
Right? And that's why this conference or this seminar right, that we have is a good way. Now, even if you yourself don't have any socialization, it's good to come and get education so that you could give others that awareness, or even if you know someone in your life.
You are the one who needs to come, because you have to help the ones who do. But what you just said there, Johansi, and what the callers kind of alluded to as well, is, it makes me remember that, we have to consider stigma too. Stigma plays a huge role in why people resort to suicide and other self-harming behaviors, because sometimes, even as you were saying, isolating,
part,
Heston.
right? Yeah.
Exactly, you isolate because one, I'm the only one experiencing this because nobody is talking about it.
Right.
Two, people wouldn't understand, people will judge me, and perhaps people would say insensitive things. A lot of times people don't know what to say, and
right.
they just blurt out.
They use the tools they have.
They use the tools they have.
I think we have another
Correct.
caller.
Help of other people, but we don't take care of ourselves. And one thing, and Keston and I was discussing earlier in terms of planned relaxation, right? We tend to only relax when we're stressed. But if we relax either way, right? So you have, let's say, every Wednesday you go and relax somewhere. Every Saturday you're going to do it. Don't just do it when you feel overwhelmed. Because all of us have, as Keston was saying, a finite, and let's call it emotional bank. Right? And every day, as we go through the day, there are deposits and withdrawals. And a lot of times we have a lot of withdrawals, right? From the time you wake up, you can't find the outfit you want to wear, there's a withdrawal. Then you go in traffic, there's a withdrawal. Then somebody didn't tell you morning, there's a withdrawal. Then in a job you don't want to be in, that's 8 hours of withdrawal. So time you reach home, your emotional bank at overdraft, right? And that is where our resilience lowers.
There's a point. It is dangerous for us as people in a civilized society to separate or abrogate ourselves from the way that we feel. To tell its members that it doesn't matter how you feel, just do what you have to do. Or it doesn't matter how you feel, just trust God. It's like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. It matters how you feel, because how you feel affects how you live. And it matters how you feel, and it matters that you have a voice to talk to someone to get help. So if you're in a situation where you don't have access to help, or people in your home don't listen, the government actually has support networks for these kinds of things. Am I right? We have them.
Yes, and
we'll give out some of them later, right? Awesome. That's super important. Yeah, okay, so I'm done with that, but those two things just came to my mind.
50 to 60% of people who die by suicide have family members and friends who saw signs. Some of them may not, and the rest who are not in that statistic probably didn't know that they saw signs.
Right.
So my point there then is, we might see signs, we might be in denial, we might not be sure if we see signs. What do we do? So for that reason, the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Psychologists, is having a suicide awareness seminar for suicide awareness and prevention on Saturday, the 27th of April, that's this coming Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Amphitheater 2 of the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. It is free to the public. Just come in, bring a friend, and learn how to recognize suicidal thoughts and behaviors, well, not behaviors, but suicidal thoughts, how to recognize the warning signs, how to improve your communication skills, what to do when you see warning signs and you wonder about, helping somebody, and what the available resources for intervention are. This is not just for people who feel suicidal. This is for everybody, anybody who has the compassion and feels like they might want to help someone in need. Now, suicide is very common. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Suicide isn't very common, but we have had, anybody who looks at the news know that we do have some issues with suicide in Trinidad and Tobago. There have been quite a few, whether it's attempts or completed ones, among our youth as well, youth who are preparing for exams and so on. And we need to equip ourselves as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and of the world to be able to help people, children and adults alike, when they feel this way. So come out to the event and learn the tools to help others.
Yes, and I endorse
I implore you.
Please come out as April 27th, as this Saturday, right, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Eric Williams
Medical Sciences Complex.
Perfect.
Amphitheater 2.
And just for those who wanted to know, the suicide hotline for Trinidad and Tobago is 645-2800 or 645-6616. Again, the suicide hotline is 645-2800 or 645-6616.
So there was a sobering statistic that was said earlier in the show that I'd like to say. There's 800,000 people about a year. That's one every 40 seconds.
Every 40 seconds, yeah.
So I did some math while we were talking, and that means that about 90 people committed suicide.
Completed
suicide since we started having this conversation. And I think that's really sobering, and it means that even though we just talk about it, we actually have to do something about it. So my words in closing are to seek help, to get help, and to be help. You have been listening to Mindset. Thank you so much. We are really excited to talk with you about psychology and neuroscience in our culture every day. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kester.
Todo mundo para uma program today, no. Mr. Monena. I say, well, when Jenny called me and tell me that, I say, well, yeah, Mr. Monena, I know bitch on to go buy no